Would you pray? Would you pray with me, friends? Holy God among us, take our minds and think with them. Take our lips and speak with them. Take our hands and work with them. And take our hearts and set them on fire with love for you and all of creation. Amen. She proposed to me. You all know this, I assume? No. Robert Jonathan Mark. Rebecca Wheeler Evans proposed to me. It's for a sermon for a whole nother time to give you all the details of that, but suffice it to say that there was a kayak involved, there was a rock out in the ocean, there was a sudden picnic, and then a ring on my finger. Not to be overshadowed completely, I did respond with a ring myself. But I had to respond with not just the ordinary ring, but something out of the ordinary. So I found a mineral by the name of iolite. Can you say that? Iolite? Now, iolite is known for its high degree of pleochroism. Say pleochroism with me? Or not. Pleochroism, you all know, is that substance that allows for different colors to be observed at different angles within a mineral. You've probably seen this from time to time. You may actually have iolite in your own experience. Iolite apparently is what the Vikings used to use for navigation during the day as they held it up to the sun so that their eyes would not be blinded as they turned the right angle. It would be murky, and if they turned it at another angle, they could see clearly. So pleochroism allows the murky to move to clarity, simply from changing a point of view. Where do we go from here? It is a question that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. offered the world in 1967. After some very hard-fought years in the movement for racial justice and civil rights, Dr. King and his wife Coretta and two of their aides went far away to help answer and pose this question to the world. They went to Jamaica for a writing retreat with no cell phones. They didn't exist back then. There was no corded phone in the then equivalent to an Airbnb that they rented in Jamaica, so that he could write this book, Where Do We Go From Here? Subtitle, Chaos or Community. And in this incredible book, which ended up being his last given to the world, a whole range of wide-ranging pieces of global ethics was unfurled upon the world. A nation that continues year after year, you've heard this one, year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. This book includes that. And also includes white people, it must frankly be said, are not putting in a similar mass effort to re-educate themselves out of their racial ignorance. Nothing can be more detrimental to the health of America at this time than for liberals to sink into a state of apathy and indifference. You heard a variation of that in our call to worship this morning. Of course, this book was very unpopular. It caused many a wave, ruffled many a feathers in the halls of U.S. white power. No coincidence, 1 year later, Dr. King was assassinated. Chaos or community, murky gemstone or clear crystal. Change the angle, change our perspective. Where do we go from here? Embedded in that is the question, where are we? Some 18 days into our new year, when I said Happy New Year to you, you kind of frowned at me, Derek. Really? Where are we? Kind of feels like chaos is winning out. Feels like we have a lot more murky mud on our feet. We're stuck in that miry clay. We have not been lifted up from that pit. That Psalm 40 that we read today goes on from that place and says, "But as for me, I am poor and needy. May God think on me. You are my help and my deliverer. You are my God. Do not delay." How long is also embedded, that question, in that song. How long must we wait? This past week, I had a rare encounter with some live jazz music. string, bass, upright bass, a guitar, and a pair of drums. And I watched a kid, probably no more the age of 4, unfurl a dollar bill that I saw his dad had stuffed in his pocket, and he went up to the jar, about to put it in, and then, out of nowhere, his older brother, maybe age of 7, tackled the kid, tackled him, and took his dollar bill and ran off. The kid was in tears. Kid was in tears. I think this 7-year-old is running our country right now. Are we going to steal Greenland from our friends and neighbors? Are we going to continue to take money from those most needing it for social uplift and spend it on military contracts again and again? Chaos seems to be winning out. Minneapolis, beloved Minneapolis. It brings me back to that ring. That ring that I gave to Becky was made by Melissa Tubbs Loya. Melissa Tubbs Loya is the incredible spouse to the Right Reverend Bishop Craig Loya, who is now the Bishop of Minnesota, a friend of mine. He has been in the news lately. He drew together some 3,600 people over a Zoom vigil in the light of Renee Good's murder. And he wrote, "After all the things that I've seen this week in Minnesota, I am weary, I am weighed down, I am angry, I am heartbroken, and I have no doubt that all of you are too. For those of you who are outside of Minnesota right now, it is hard to overstate the magnitude of the random and reckless cruelty that we are seeing and the depth of the fear that nearly everyone is living with at the same time." A colleague of Bishop Craig's, Bishop Rob Hirschfield, you may have heard, actually this was on NPR this morning, has called out to his clergy in New Hampshire to get their stuff in order. Make sure their wills are in order. Make sure their house is in order, because this might be a new era of martyrdom for Episcopal priests in our country. This is really happening right now. This is really happening right now. It seems like chaos is winning out. But I want to name something about the connections in the midst of it all. Yes, the ring that led me to Melissa, that led me to a connection and friendship with now a bishop who is trying to speak some truth to power in a place where there is a lot of hurt. Did you know that Renee Good was part of our own family, the Presbyterian Church USA? This past week, I sometimes am skeptical of public statements by our denomination at times. It feels like a little too little. But this time I am incredibly proud of the Presbyterian Church USA for the public statement that they put out in the wake of Renee's murder. The statement, just a segment of it, goes this way. "Jesus teaches us that there is no greater love than the willingness to make the ultimate sacrifice for others, to lay down one's life for someone else. It is to offer oneself unselfishly for the sake of others, especially the defenseless and the vulnerable." On Wednesday, January 7th, Renee Nicole Good was shot while moving her car, attempting to follow the orders of an ICE officer. Her last words, captured on video, were, "I'm not mad at you." We lament and mourn the loss of Miss Good, a widow of a veteran, a wife and a mother who put herself in harm's way, not out of any desire to do harm, but to observe and bear witness to the actions of ICE. We affirm the right to peacefully protest and to lawful observation for all Americans without the threat of repressive or deadly responses by the government or law enforcement. Alongside Miss Good, we remember George Floyd, whose life was taken at the hands of law enforcement in 2020 within 1 mile of where Miss Good was murdered at the hands of enforcement officers, a stark and enduring reminder of the deadly consequences of injustice and unfinished work of truth and repentance and transformation to which God continually calls us. Renee was a member of Edgewater Presbyterian Church in Illinois, and they shared that she will be remembered as one who lived out a conviction that every person deserves kindness regardless of their background. The Presbyterian Church calls us to remember. They also lifted up Renee's wife, Rebecca Good, who offered this fitting memorial. She is pure love, she is pure joy, she is pure sunshine. Renee was a Christian who knew that all religions teach essentially the same truth. We're here for each other, we're here to love each other, to care for each other, and to keep each other safe and whole. And we have a government that's now investigating this beloved wife of a beloved Presbyterian who was just trying to love. So if we're looking at changing the angle and to shift from the chaos that we all feel and we're scared of right now to that community that we all long for, I'm wondering if the mutuality of the connections that we have are somewhat of an answer, somewhat of a directive for us. If we put ourselves in the Viking shoes, maybe it's going to help us go from this place to help answer that question, where do we go from here? If we remember, just 3 years ago, the Embrace landed here in our front yard in Boston Common, that memorial to the Kings. Feels like if you look at it at one angle, those arms are crumbling. They're falling apart. The chaos is winning. But again, I think we have reminded ourselves of this enjoinder to look a second time. And if you look at your bulletin cover, this may help interpret what is actually happening for us in this embrace. Rob Problack Gibbs was one of the most famous current artists here in the Boston landscape. He is now world renowned. He is a muralist, and he has painted many a mural here in Roxbury and Dorchester and Boston and other parts of this central Boston landscape. And he has painted this mural as well. He has painted this at the former location of 12th Baptist Church where Dr. King served as an associate minister for a few years in the 50s. And you see it depicting Martin and Coretta. And if you look, you're going to see those two murals are actually separated. They're put together in this image, but they're separated by a parking lot in this new affordable housing place where 12th Baptist used to be. And for most of us, we'll understand the artwork here, what that corded thing is. That's something that came from a telephone at one point and went into a wall. But if you're younger than me, you may not remember that. Well, you're way younger than me, you may not remember that. But my son has never seen one of these, for instance. Cords connected, right? And I think this image is important. And I love that this mural is separated by a gap. And there's another photo of a photojournalist who took a group of kids walking between these two murals as maybe part of the answer. That community does connect us. But it's as if an umbilical cord is there. Coretta, Martin met over the phone. They met in person, but then over the phone were invited into their first date that landed them at Boston Common. So the connection here is large to the Boston landscape. And I love this image for us, and I love that we have artists that are inviting us to come and see a different narrative. Come and see its community that may, in the end, win out over the chaos. Artists like Jesus, the rabbi, the renegade, whose very first words in the Gospel of John, as recorded in what we read today, were, "What are you looking for?" It's those disciples who were first following John the Baptizer who notice this person, and they come over, and he doesn't greet them, doesn't say good morning, he doesn't say welcome, he doesn't ask them what they believe or who they are. He asks them, what are you looking for? What are you searching for? Maybe as a deeper meaning. It's that deep spiritual question. Jesus wants to know, where is our passion? What is inside us? Where are we going together? And if we answer that question of what are we looking for, we might find the answer to our direction more fully. Of course, the disciples respond to Jesus' question with a question themselves. Where are you staying? I've lifted this before as I think one of the central questions to our faith. Where are you staying is an invitation into hospitality. It is an invitation to really understand where someone is at. Physically, yes. Are you staying on a street grate? Are you out in the woods? Are you staying in a tent? Are you staying in a shelter? Are you staying in a mansion? Where are you staying? The scripture does not describe or answer that. We never see in this story where Jesus is, but we see that those followers of Jesus linger long until 4 in the afternoon in that place with Jesus. So it is a place clearly of hospitality where they feel welcomed, where they feel known, where they're together, they feel held. And I wonder if that is an answer for all of us, friends, to begin to ask that question of one another. Where are you staying? What are you seeking? And then to hear Jesus' answer to all of these things. Come and see. Come and see community. Look at your own life. See the Jubilee that is being braided together, the people you bump into, the experiences of God that you encounter on a week-to-week basis. Maybe, just maybe, Jesus is helping to weave a narrative of mutuality, of destiny, of being connected in a web, an inescapable web that we are connected with. So maybe part of the answer, friends, is to remember who are you connected with and who will you be connected with in the future. Church is a great chance to connect with new people, to change our vision, to find more clarity away from the murkiness. And I'm excited about the question as we move from this Epiphany season throughout the rest of our church year of where we may find hope together. Today in the landscape is also being named as Covenant for Our Future Sunday. Green Faith is inviting us to do this. Green Faith is a partner of ours in the work of Climate Jubilee. And they recognize very clearly that climate is deeply connected to social justice and equality, and therefore they're naming this theme of Covenant for Our Future. So I began with love, I want to end with love. By the way, the mural that is on your cover is entitled Roxbury Love Story. Lest you think that I am a savage human and I let two kids tackle each other and let capitalism win out, I was about to maybe go reprimand that 7-year-old who took the money from the 4-year-old brother. But thanks be to God, a 9-year-old sister swooped in from nowhere. She grabbed the 7-year-old's hand and said, "That is not yours. Dad gave you that money. Come with me." She grabbed both of the two boys' hands. This is restorative justice displayed for me in front of a live jazz show. She grabbed both of their hands, joined them together as if she was listening, "Take my hand." She put those hands together and put the dollar bill in the older brother's hand and said, "Now together, go put that money into the hat for the musicians." And they did. We need more of those older sisters in our world. We need to be those older sisters to one another, right? We need to come and see a different landscape in a different way. So I want us to
I want to say to you as I move to my conclusion, as we talk about where do we go from here, that we must honestly face the fact that the movement must address itself to the question of restructuring the whole of American society. There are 40 million poor people here. And one day we must ask the question, why are there 40 million poor people in America? And when you begin to ask that question, you're raising a question about the economic system, about a broader distribution of wealth. When you ask that question, you begin to question the capitalistic economy. And I'm simply saying that more and more, we've got to begin to ask questions about the whole society. We are called upon to help the discouraged beggars in life's marketplace. But one day we must come to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring. It means that questions must be raised. And you see, my friends, when you deal with this, you begin to ask the question, who owns the oil? You begin to ask the question, who owns the iron ore? These are words that must be said. Now, when I say question in the whole society, it means ultimately coming to see that the problem of racism, the problem of economic exploitation, and the problem of war are all tied together. These are the triple evils that are interrelated. And if you will let me be a preacher just a little bit. One night a juror came to Jesus, and he wanted to know what he could do to be saved. Jesus didn't get bogged down on the kind of isolated approach of what you shouldn't do. Jesus didn't say, now, Nicodemus, you must stop lying. He didn't say, Nicodemus, now you must not commit adultery. He didn't say, now, Nicodemus, you must stop cheating if you're doing that. He didn't say, Nicodemus, you must stop drinking liquor if you're doing that excessively. He said something altogether different because Jesus realized something basic. That if a man will lie, he will steal. And if a man will steal, he will kill. So instead of just getting bogged down on one thing, Jesus looked at him and said, Nicodemus, you must be born again. In other words, your whole structure must be changed. A nation that will keep people in slavery for 244 years will thingify them and make them things. And therefore they will exploit them and poor people generally, economically. And a nation that will exploit economically will have to have foreign investments and everything else, and it will have to use its military might to protect them. All of these problems are tied together. What I'm saying today is that we must go from this convention and say, America, you must be born again. What happened is that some of our philosophers got off base. And one of the great problems of history is that the concepts of love and power have usually been contrasted as opposites, polar opposites. So that love is identified with a resignation of power and power with a denial of love. It was this misinterpretation that caused the philosopher Nietzsche, who was the philosopher of the will to power, to reject the Christian concept of love. It was the same misinterpretation which induced Christian theologians to reject Nietzsche's philosophy of the will to power in the name of the Christian idea of love. Now, we got to get this thing right. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and that love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best. Power at its best is love, implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love.
Spirit, take us home by another way. Take us long way round the tyrants and their schemes. Give us strength to walk, show us dreams of a better day, and we'll pave the way with justice, going home by another way. The mountains and the hills laid low, the rough places made plain, the despots thrown down from their thrones, till only love remains. Spirit, take us home by another way. Take us long way round the tyrants and their schemes. Give us strength to walk, show us dreams of a better day, and we'll pave the way with justice, going home by another way. No offerings for billionaires to make them richer still. Bring all your frankincense and myrrh, that the hungry may be filled. Spirit, take us home by another way. Take us long way round the tyrants and their schemes. Give us strength to walk, show us dreams of a better day, and we'll pave the way with justice, going home by another way. So when the Proud Boys and the Klan ask where the Christ child lies, just tell 'em that you'll let 'em know next time you're passing by. Spirit, take us home by another way. Take us long way round the tyrants and their schemes. Give us strength to walk, show us dreams of a better day, and we'll pave the way with justice, going home by another way. So when things get tough and feet are tired, we'll know it'll be okay, 'cause we'll pave the way with justice, going home by another way.